suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon, did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars, and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for any. I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Shucky ducky now. They said this, they said that, the conspiracy theorists said this and that. They said my president was butt naked. They say my president was involved. He was on the plane. He got off the plane. He was on the island. They say he went and seen Bill in the massage room. Had an ice cream cone on top of his head. I tell you, what a disgrace. And then now they actually say this is that, and now they say this is the truth, and they say this, and now the Democrats got caught and it backfired. And now Democrats is caught red-handed. Oh, hell. You just can't make this up. What a time to be alive in 2025. Epstein. You know, and this has completely backfired on the Democrats, and just with the left, it's just been absolute, just complete ignorance. And I agree, man, complete ignorance. And why so many people believe why what Trump said, what he said now, and why he said it was a hoax, it was this and that. Yeah, because now all this new information, these updates are coming out, and we just got these emails. I mean, just everything, how everything is playing out right now. An absolute disgrace. And I told y'all, sit back, enjoy the show. Let everything play out. Let them come up live on television and make false claims they cannot back up. Let it come out, But again, we are rooting for full transparency. The main things the main two A's, like I always say, is that what we're rooting for is accountability and affordability, and what's one of the big reasons why we voted for President Trump, why a majority of Americans voted for President Trump. Accountability and affordability. Not as many other things, a whole lot of other things, a lot of issues, immigration, having an actual border, having common sense. And right now there's been a lot of wins with this administration that you just can't deny, whether you love or hate the man. You just can't deny. There's been a lot of success with this administration, and a night and day difference than the previous administration, But it's all coming out, and we're all letting it play out. Well, we got some huge updates and breaking news just now, but let's get into it. And I was just scrolling and I said, look at this. Candace Owens. What do y'all think of Miss Owens? Y'all know a couple days ago, she said, they are blackmailing President Donald Trump in broad daylight. The slow release of emails is intentional. Now he will give them whatever they want. For those who struggle with the context clues, they equal Israel, who Jeffrey Epstein worked for. This is how our nation is run. Oh, and she looked like she broke the internet with that post right there. But it's just gotten worse for the Democrat Party. The X account of the Democrat Party deleted their post claiming Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. Yeah. It says he was literally the president. Dumb. You think someone would have noticed? Trump should bankrupt the DNC for this. And there's a lot of people and places and things and a lot of networks that Trump ought to bankrupt, in my opinion. And seeing the CNNs come out and having to retract their words and say Trump had no involvement of any wrongdoing. It's just an absolute disgrace. We're getting emails. What about the emails? Those old emails, But Trump made some huge announcements, as we showed in the beginning of the show, in the Oval Office, and we know a lot of things that have come out with Trump and Epstein, and he did this, he did that. Somebody got kicked out. They say Trump was a FBI informant. They say Trump was this, he was that. Hey, I told y'all, let everything play out, But, Trump said this that broke the internet as well. A couple hours ago, he says, as I said on Friday night aboard of Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. It's time to move on from this Democratic hoax perpetrated by the radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory of the Democrat shutdown. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein. Are looking at various Democrat operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. All I care about is the Republicans getting back on point, which is the economy, affordability, in parentheses, which we are winning big. And I told y'all, Trump has to stay, they need to stay focused, especially on the economy, especially with the midterms coming up and everything. It's coming fast. We got to stay focused. That's why I'll tell you, I didn't really like seeing the whole, fighting and him saying this and seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene come out there. And, we got to stay focused, But seeing what some of the things and that her and others have done, and what it's just, we got to stay focused, man. And I know a lot of y'all don't agree with this and that, and disagree with this, and don't like that Marjorie Taylor Greene did this, and some people love that she did that. And again, people want full transparency and accountability. But I told y'all, let everything play out. But Trump says, we are winning big. Our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing, bringing down prices for the American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gathering trillions of dollars of investments into America. OkayRickk, the rebuilding of our military, securing our border, deporting criminal illegal aliens, ending men and women's sports, stopping transgender for everyone, and so much more. Nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive, and if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. The Democrats had something. They would have done it before I won an election in a landslide victory. Every single swing state. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. But he says some members of the Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. But now, breaking, the U.S. House is now scheduled to vote on the release of the Epstein files tomorrow, Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Per multiple sources, President Trump has now endorsed the bill and should pass with flying colors, possibly even anonymously. Oh boy. And we know the back and forth right now, what's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Trump gave her a couple of nicknames, Marjorie Trader Green and Marjorie Taylor Brown. Because he says green grass, when it rots, it turns brown. Yeah. And we know the whole Thomas Massey and, MTG and them calling him out. And then he went out golfing with, Mr. Graham. And, people are just like, Trump, wait a second now. Wait a second, Donnie. What's going on here? But again, there's a lot of things we can agree and disagree with, but I told y'all, let it all play out, man. And we're hoping for everything to come out that the truth will set everyone free, But we see where Trump is standing on this, and I want to get into this right here. That the entire Epstein saga turns on Democrats. Let's jump into this.
Welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. It's really unfortunate what's happening here. Like I mentioned in a previous video, I've been on this story of the Epstein files for a very long time. It's basically how I started my YouTube career. But now what's happening with the Epstein files is a complete manipulation. It's a bastardization. Democrats.
That is true. Like, only the real ones know. Like, they've been at the beginning of Hive Mind. He jumped in with the Epstein thing, so, oh boy.
Are attempting to co-opt it, not to get justice, not to release the files and really look into what actually happened and who's really implicated, but to weaponize the entire thing against President Trump. And I'm not saying that the Epstein files are now a hoax and that they should remain hidden from the public. Absolutely not. They should be released in their entirety. But it's obvious that Democrats don't really want that. No, they just want to selectively drop information and use Epstein as a tool. And I think it actually goes well beyond just the little fraudulent document dump that they engaged in this week. It goes a whole lot frickin' deeper. It seems like Democrats, here's the latest twist, have been colluding with Epstein. Kind of explains the Michael Wolff back and forth email chain. Well, now we've got more evidence on top of it. Apparently, Jeffrey Epstein was texting Stacey Plaskett right ahead of the second Trump indictment push. Really, some shocking stuff. But once again, exposing what's going on here, how the Democrat Party turned a true grotesque...
I told y'all, let everything play out. Let them get up, scream to the top of their lungs, make the false claims. Let them. I'm telling you, let it all play out. Just watch what I tell you. we gonna be the ones smiling on the other end. I promise you. You know, we know this happened. Trump did this. Trump did this years ago. We know. We know. And let them come up and let the fake news media run that same Epstein pictures and clips with him and Trump, buddy, and him walking in the party and pointing at the people dancing, and let you know. And honestly, just let everything play out. Like I told you, I want people sued out their shoes, held accountable, like accountability. You know.
Scandal involving some major power players, and they've attempted to turn it into a communication strategy to go after the evil orange man. They're not interested in accountability for the victims. No, they were cultivating an intelligence source of sorts. I guess trying to build another Steele dossier kind of scandal involving this guy, turning Jeffrey Epstein into a weapon that they were going to aim directly at President Trump's face. This is an absolute frickin' bombshell, and it proves that the Democrats are exactly guilty of what they're accusing Donald Trump of. Classic left-wing projection. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's...
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once...
Miss Stacy. Y'all see, remember this? We played on yesterday's show? Yeah, we're exposing this in broad daylight. I told you. The truth is going to set a lot of people free. Let it all play out. Let it all come out. Yeah.
Driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
It's absolutely wild. It's borderline unbelievable, but again, that's the word that constantly comes to mind, just naturally. But nothing about this is unbelievable. It's par for the freaking course with these Dems. And of course, what does it tell you? Well, it tells you that these Democrats were never interested in following the facts wherever they may lead. They weren't interested in achieving actual justice. Jeffrey Epstein was a freaking monster who had to be stopped, but they weren't interested in stopping that monster. No, they wanted to use him. They wanted to wield him. They wanted that monster in their back pocket. They wanted to keep him as a political asset. And that's the exact same energy that you see in the Michael Wolff email chains. He wasn't courting Jeffrey Epstein to expose a trafficking network, to rip off the lid of the client list and all the power players that might have been involved. No, he was solely focused on trying to get Jeffrey Epstein to vaguely implicate President Trump so that at the right moment, he could drop that email chain in coordination with the Democrats when they needed a headline. Oh, we failed on the shutdown. Well, here we go. Let's use the Michael Wolff Epstein weapon. It's absolutely freaking wild. And again, when I say par for the course, I mean it because this is what the Democrats do. Remember this moment with Michael Cohen? A little bit of a Freudian slip, an accidental telling of the truth.
I got 8 seconds. What did you talk to Mr. Schiff about?
I spoke to Mr. Schiff about topics that were going to be raised at the upcoming hearing.
Whoa. Not just what time to show up, actually what you're going to talk about?
The gentleman time to expire.
He let it slip that he was coordinating with Adam Schiff before his hearing. They were coaching, going back and forth. What are we going to talk about? He wasn't a witness. He became a Democrat political asset. And that's exactly how they do it. They don't build cases. They manufacture narratives. They create false accusations or assumptions and then leak it to the media and run with the story. You know, I'm convinced that Michael Cohen was one of their assets since the early days. That whole thing that went down with Stormy Daniels, the way that it was set up, well, that's exactly what it was. It was a setup. And that's exactly what they're doing with Epstein, repackaging old debunked nonsense, dropping selective emails, slapping redactions where they don't belong in order to insinuate that there is a victim, even though the victim in this case has very clearly, under oath, stated unequivocally that Donald Trump never did anything to her. She never even met him. She was never in the same room with President Trump. He was never at the islands. He was never at Jeffrey Epstein's house. We hear that from every single other Jeffrey Epstein victim as well.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon, did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
And so they had to alter.
How many times do we have to play it?
Alter the document to make it seem as if that was the case. It's all about falsely creating the illusion that Donald Trump was a criminal co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein, even though if you actually analyze the evidence that they have dropped, it does the exact opposite.
Connection to Epstein, as shown in those emails, according to Epstein, is unsavory, and it's not good.
Is that new information that he knew Jeffrey Epstein? Is it new information that Trump excommunicated him from Mar-a-Lago? Is it what the only new information that we got this week off those emails was that somebody from the New York Times was advising Jeffrey Epstein, and we learned tonight from the Washington Post that Jeffrey Epstein was programming Democratic members of Congress. We didn't learn anything we didn't already know about Donald Trump, which was other than
Look at her face. Look at her face. Scott Jennings is keeping CNN afloat. He is keeping the lights on at CNN. And CNN and they're reporting this past week, CNN ought to be sued out of his shoes. They ought to shut the whole entire headquarters down, the building, and pack everybody out of there. I'm serious. And Scott Jennings get a better opportunity and position. And a couple of others, you know. But mostly the conservatives that they have on the show. This is a disgrace, man. CNN ought to be ashamed of itself, and many others.
And Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and now Democrats are aligning themselves with Jeffrey Epstein because Orange Man bad.
Did you read those 3 emails? They are really bad looking. Their optics are terrible. Oh my God. Okay, they're putting Trump with one.
Exactly. And look at what happens when you point out the facts. The brain-dead Democrat bot, out of ammunition, immediately pivots to the, oh, well, he was in the same room as a victim. That's Virginia Giuffre. Again, how freaking dumb do these people think we are? But this is what they do. They lose the argument on the merits, then run back to a contradictory claim. And what's crazy is that the core of the allegation, the only thing that they actually have, and you'll notice, that's the one talking point they're most confident saying, the core accusation is that Trump knew that Jeffrey Epstein was engaging in his behaviors and he did nothing. Well, first of all, that claim is a little bit ridiculous. What was President Trump supposed to do? He cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of his country club as well as Ghislaine Maxwell. From what I understand, he was also cooperating with authorities. But what was President Trump supposed to do? Tackle him? Cuff him? Be the judge, jury, and executioner? I mean, come on. The FBI knew. Since 2001, we know this. They've had information on Jeffrey Epstein. Federal authorities have for decades, and they chose not to pursue. That failure sits with the federal institutions. And meanwhile, this accusation that Trump knew and did nothing, well, if anything, I think that applies to them and not Trump, because apparently they were the ones texting casually with Epstein, colluding with him to take down President Trump. Meanwhile, that was in 2019. Plus, when the whole freaking world knew what Jeffrey Epstein was up to, they knew. And not only did they do nothing, but they engaged with the guy and tried to bring him on basically as a political ally. What does that tell you about them? Well, I think it tells you all that you need to know. Anyways, that's pretty much.
Yeah. Like the famous saying goes, you just can't make this